Just go.
Now that I got your attention, I have to mention that you have to work hard in order to earn a pension. Therefore, keep striving and don't you ever give up. Long as you try, failure's acceptable, keep your chin up. Don't follow anyone, make the right decision. Cause one wrong move will get you right in detention. And if you keep doing it, you might get suspended. Time is money, gotta watch how you spend it. On your free time, open up your Webster's edition. Dictionary.
Hi, I'm Inez, and this is the Adventures of CISTA Girls. Today, as our guest, we have Linda.
Hi.
Today, we'll be talking about how technology affects our society today. For example, we have families. Technology affects our families because now we have people sitting at a table, and instead of communicating, we have them on their phones playing games or being on social media.
So I think that's a really big issue because, you know, when you're at the dinner table, you're eating, you're supposed to be talking with your families and things like that. You're supposed to be communicating, telling them about your day, just having that like family experience. But if everyone's on their phones and on social media or something like that, then it's kind of hard to get that same experience.
Right, that could also cause you to be antisocial because you need to be able to have friends, you need to be able to communicate with people, and in the future, if you're getting a job, a lot of jobs require you to like know how to speak to people in a respectful way, and having technology is just changing all of that. We have people who rather be on their phones instead of going outside playing and like socializing with people. And another issue we have is people get bullied off of social media, which goes into technology, you know?
Yeah, I think bullying comes from the fact that like maybe not people aren't as confident in themselves, because if you look online and on social media, there's a lot of, I guess, standards that aren't normal, and people try to look up to them, and like it's understandable to have a goal or something that you admire, but having unrealistic standards can really hurt a person. Right,
technology has a way for us to hide behind a phone and say rude things to other people, which is not okay, and the person will never know who it is, and that causes them to do things that are not good. That could also affect them. But there are good things to having technology. Now we can get around in the world. We can communicate quicker instead of having to walk all the way to somebody's house.
Yeah.
We could just like send them a quick text, and yeah.
I think that's another good part about technology, because of the social aspect. Although, you know, you're being antisocial in the real world, when we say have friends, like you have a job and you need to know how to make friends, we don't mean like friends on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
We mean like friends in the real world, because if you're on technology and if you're communicating with technology, that doesn't really give you real world like experiences and how to like actually communicate with a person and socialize with them in the real world.
Right, that also goes back to the family. That could like drive you away from your family instead of bringing you guys closer, because you look at it like this: oh, I can have friends on social media, and a lot of times you don't know them.
Yeah.
So that also causes you to be distant, and you should be socializing in a family table, like having dinner and talking about how was your day, but instead you're playing Subway Surfers or on Facebook or Instagram, and that's not good.
Yeah, I think like being with family, you get like a really close bond, and if everyone's already on their phone or something like that, then you don't get that same kind of bond and that same kind of family time.
Right, and also you're not exposed to the real world. You see what's on technology. Now we have Photoshop, like we can make something look
how it's not.
What it's not, right. And that also ties into, if you don't know what's outside in the real world, you'll never get around. For example, you could be going outside and traveling the world and actually seeing stuff like with your eyes instead of what you see on a phone or a computer or something.
But I guess that kind of brings in a good way technology affects us, because you can like experience, for example, the Eiffel Tower with Paris. You can like see pictures with it if maybe you don't have the means to actually go there.
Right.
Although no matter what, like the real life experience is always going to be better.
And also we have cars now. Cars back then was not what it is today at all. We had carriages back then where horses would take us places. Now we have self-driving cars.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm kind of iffy about the self-driving cars topic because it kind of scares me, like, you know, you're not in control of a vehicle.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of good aspects, like, you know, God forbid there's some reason that you can't drive a car when you're on the road and the car can kind of take over itself. But I've also heard stories of when they're test driving it, then the car, like the autopilot, like goes off the rails and it doesn't work how it's supposed to. And that's a negative, I guess, annotation with technology. You don't always know what's going to happen with it. Unlike with a person, you know, it's kind of more predictable.
That also ties into we have robots everywhere.
Yeah.
Our phones are sort of robots. Computers are kind of like robots. And now the big issue is robots are taking over people's jobs. Now we have technology that can do things for people and you don't have to pay the computer, you know?
I think that's another, I guess that's a negative connotation with it.
Yeah.
Because technology is really taking over people's jobs, like in factories, people where there used to be thousands of jobs in packing, now machines do packing. So you're taking away jobs from a lot of people, although it may be more efficient and it may be more cost effective for the company, it's taking away people's jobs that they need for income.
You think, what does that do to the people? It puts them in a bad position where, oh, they don't have a job, they can't pay bills.
Yeah, things like that. Having a job is really important. And it's not just the fact that people who are looking for jobs now can't get them because they're taken over by machines. What happens to the people who already had those jobs? They just got laid off or something because a new technology came in.
Right. Like, we had scientists who would go out and figure things out. Now we have computers that could figure that out. Like, for example, we have Ancestry.com that can track back where you come from instead of people having to like go through documents and everything.
Looking through files, things like that. Like things like that, like things that track your DNA, also can lead up to crazy new possibilities because now you know who you're related to, and maybe you found like a long lost relative that you never knew, and like you can kind of connect through that thing. So I think that's a better thing.
Right. Going back to the social media, people will see things that aren't true and they'll want to be that.
Yeah. And
that goes back also to the real world thing. You could look at something on social media, like see somebody who has like the perfect body, and when you meet them, it's like there's so many things wrong with them. Not that that's a bad thing, but you notice like
it just doesn't match up.
Right, it doesn't match up, and people try so hard, and like they kind of get addicted to that, to like believe in what they see. And I feel like that's bad because then that could cause you to hurt yourself. Like you want to be that, but you can't because you're saying, oh my God, how is that possible? How are they doing that to themselves? But you're trying so hard to be that person that you see.
Yeah, I think having social media as a platform is really good because, you know, social media can do a lot of new possibilities. You can reach a lot of people. Like, for example, if you put an ad in like a newspaper, then you're only going to reach the people who like read the newspaper. Well, now you have influencers who are able to reach a lot of people with some really powerful messages, like people who preach having like nobody's a perfect body or some things like that.
You could promote different things.
Yeah.
You could put up different things that maybe make people feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Social media isn't all bad. I mean, we can go on Google and search up something we need. Like if somebody asks me what's cake and I don't know what cake is, I could just go on Google and type it in and it pops up and I could read everything there is about cake without having to go around asking people or doing so much research without the technology.
Yeah, speaking of like looking up something, technology is really good now for educational purposes. In my old school, they provided us iPads. So we had our textbooks online, we had a lot of our work online, things like that. And that was really good for us because, you know, we didn't have to carry 3 textbooks in our bag for homework. We just had the iPad. So doing things like that, I guess, is environmentally good too. Because, you know, we're saving paper. We're not using loosely for like every single project. We can write it digitally and send it in digitally.
I mean, I agree with you. My school, we use computers. Everything is on the computers. I mean, our homework and everything is on the computers.
Yeah.
So when we go home, it's not everybody who owns this technology, like they're able to access the internet.
Yeah.
So that also causes a lot of kids to not do their work. And not everybody has the money to go out and buy computers or a phone that could access the internet. I mean, now you're able to get a library card and go to the library and use their computers, but not everybody knows how to use a computer. I mean, we're up to this day where everything is computers or phones, like you use that to do anything and everything, but it's not everybody who likes that and wants to learn how to do that.
Yeah, speaking of like wanting to learn how to do it, and also not everyone's able to access technology. Computers, phones, tablets, even getting simple internet service is very costly, probably because the demand for it is really high, so it's really like expensive and not everyone's able to get that, so that can also lead to bullying. Like if somebody doesn't have the newest version of a phone or the newest like apps and things like that, just because they can't afford it, that can also lead to bullying.
We have people getting made fun of because they don't have this phone or that technology, you know? Yeah.
Also, like going back to school, and with school, I do art. I love art, and I recently got, you know, an iPad with an Apple Pencil, and digital art like opened a whole new world for me because it's a lot easier, things like that. Although there's like that homey feeling of writing on paper, I think digital art is also another way for artists to express themselves and like are open to a whole like a lot of new possibilities.
Right. We have good technology and also bad technology. We have the technology that helps us a lot, but also you notice like little bits of things that, oh, they didn't do this right. I mean, when the iPhone X first came out, the charging pad, their iPhones wouldn't charge, so that was a really big issue. It had a lot of many good things, like it was able to take good pictures, you was able to access things more quicker, but the problem was the charging, and Apple had to take care of it.
Yeah, well, that's like a smaller issue. A bigger issue was, I don't remember the phone model, but I think the Galaxy Note 8 was literally like exploding, and that was actually physically hurting people, not just like you can't charge your phone, but like when people are actually getting like hurt physically and have to go to the hospital, then I think more care needs to be taken care of.
Right, and what people don't understand is that companies will trick us with their technology, because we'll open a package and not even read the instructions sometimes. Sometimes we won't read like the cautions, you know, like the safety.
Yeah, the, I don't remember what it's called, but the agreement that you have to scroll through to get to accept at the bottom, almost nobody reads those, and there's some like really important information, like they can be recording your face or your screen while you're using apps.
And you ignored that. I personally, I'm gonna be honest, I just scroll because I know it would take a long time for me to read it, so I just like scroll all the way down and press I accept, even though I didn't see anything. Like it says you have to accept the terms and conditions of this and that, and I never read it. And I feel like that is bad, because I wouldn't know what my phone has. I could know how to use my phone, but I wouldn't know like everything my phone is doing. And like you said, I don't know if somebody's recording me, if that if that contract or whatever it is told me that they would be recording me, or having files of all the messages I send or something.
Yeah, that can also lead to like legal problems, because if they put it, like basically companies can put whatever they want in their terms and conditions, and people most likely won't read it. So say they are recording your face and you want to take it to court or something, you're gonna lose because they put it in the terms and conditions. Nobody just read it.
Right, it's a waste of time, because you'll walk into court and they'll tell you, well, the company will tell you, well, if you scroll all the way down
on page 57,
it'll say we have every right to record you, and you press accept. So
and they accepted that. There's a few like even mainstream apps that I don't know the names of, but it was a news article the other day that they're recording your screen and recording like and screenshotting without your permission, and they can be screenshotting important information, like, you know, when you make a purchase online, not through PayPal, but like with a credit card, they could be screenshotting all of your information and things like that, without like getting your number, and without you knowing.
And people are so not aware of what technology is doing to us. we use technology in a good way and a bad way, and the bad way is we have people who will hide behind technology
hackers and stuff like that,
right, and do bad things like hack people's phones, steal their information, even like fraud. We'll have that, and like I said before, bullying. So yeah,
I think the bullying part is another like really big issue, because there are a lot of people that like influencers that preach like, oh, like non-bullying, and that helps a lot of people, but on the same platform, like on another page away, there can be somebody like bullying others because either like they don't look like a certain person or they don't have the certain technologies like that everybody else does.
Right, there are also good and bad influencers who will influence people and say, oh, do this and do that, or else you're not cool, or you're not up to our level. And not everybody has that self-esteem that they'll say, oh no, I'm not gonna do that because I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, the self-esteem part is really big, because you know, if there's somebody and there's like a trend online that everyone's doing, and you have to get some piece of technology, and it might hurt somebody's self-esteem, like if they're not able to do what all their friends are doing and someone makes fun of them for that, like, that's kind of messed up, because you can't really judge somebody on like what they're able to afford and things like that, because that's really messed up and that's really mean.
Technology is also hurting us in a way where we walk the streets and we're not aware of our surroundings. There's people who will have headphones in their ears listening to music and saying, oh, I'm gonna be safe because I can see from my corners of my eyes, but somebody can come up behind you and do something that won't be so good. Or you could be on your phone texting somebody and say, oh, it's my light, but you don't know if a car is gonna come speeding and pass that red light and hit you.
Yeah, I mean, my mom tells me literally every day to be aware of my surroundings, even if I'm not on my phone, because I really don't like being on my phone and walking, because I can run into somebody can run into me, and living in New York, and especially like when you're in New York City, cars are predictable, people are unpredictable, and like lights are unpredictable, because there's certain lights you don't know how long they're going to be, and you don't know how long you have. So things like that are kind of, I guess, scary. So I don't usually go on my phone while I'm walking, but my mom is always like, make sure you're aware of your surroundings, because, you know, I'm young and I probably couldn't hold my own, but I don't know. So that's why I'm always like aware of my surroundings, make sure like no one's behind me, things like that.
Right. Technology was also able to help us do things quicker. Like, for example, if you committed a crime back then, it was very easy to get away with it. But now we have the technology that helps officers, or whether you're CIA, agents, secret agents, spies, to, like, you know, get to the bottom of it. We have technology that can see through walls, and that helps us solve a lot of crimes. And I think even though crime levels increase, they also decrease at the same time in certain crimes, because we're able to figure them out, and not as much people is doing it now because they're so like sucked into technology. So it is a good thing and a bad thing. Yeah,
there's like even simple things, like even if it's not like some kind of like federal technology, simple things like security cameras can give people like a real image, and can give police a real image on what actually happened, instead of like an estimate or he says, she says. And there's actually new technology that recently came out it's a computer generated like model, and an eyewitness can like modify it until it looks like a person, and it gives them almost an exact match instead of like people drawing and things like that. But that also attests to the fact that now that's somebody's job. That used to be I don't know what they're called, but somebody who like sketches out an eyewitness, that's not a job anymore because a computer does it.
That takes away a lot of jobs, and that, like you said, it is a good and bad thing, but technology gives us information, it helps us do things quicker, but it's also really taking away our money. Because there's a lot of jobs that we had back then that we don't have now, because our robots can do it for us.
I think that like going even farther back, not even the immediate effects of technology, but how we get the technology. So people like young people like our age in maybe third world countries or things like that have to like go in coal mines and get things like black lung and asthma because they're in coal mines trying to get whatever technology
Sometimes
we need.
even worse, right?
Yeah.
And here we have it good for us.
Like the most work we have to do is like go to the store and like pick it up.
Right. But we have technology that can do that for us instead of us going out there and like getting a disease that might even kill us.
Yeah.
There's technology that could do it for us.
Yeah, I mean, like how we get the technology is like a really big issue because like not everyone thinks like when they get a new phone, like they don't think like who had to either maybe like possibly die like you said, but who had to get some kind of disease or inhalation like that for us to get that phone.
We never look at that. We just look at what we see on social media and we never really think about who went through all that trouble for the rest of us. Who's that one or a few people who sacrificed themselves for us, and we don't even look at that.
Yeah, I think that when like we go to the store, there should be like a more of a stress on like, you know, who like being thankful for whoever had to go out and who had to basically make the phone for us. And it's also kind of crazy, like phones come out for, let's say, Apple every year. So that piece of technology that she paid
sometimes even
like
more
$1,000 for, it's gonna be outdated in less than a year. And the social norm or whatever is, you know, get the new phone or else you're not cool. Like my phone is kind of old, so I can understand, like, and I can attest to that not everybody is, I guess, okay, and not everybody is okay with like not having the newest model, and it's kind of crazy that they get outdated so quickly.
Social media can also cause the way our kids grow up. I am a kid, I'm only 14. It does affect the way we grow up, and sometimes we can't feed into it. So there'll be something on social media. It's always something in our phones, and growing up with technology has made me addicted to my phone, but I also know when to step back because there is a time and place for everything. So I could be on social media when I'm home or when I have free time, but when it's time to learn or do my homework, I'm on it. But then there's other kids who grew up with it most of their lives who can't really do that. And so they start believing what they see on the internet, on their tablets, on their phones, you know?
Things that kind of like not hurt me but kind of scare me as I like see people out in the public or like people that I know with like babies, like infants, and like they can't calm down unless they have like an iPad or something. And I can understand if it's like you play a song for them to go to sleep, like if you can't sing to them like in the middle of Macy's or something. But like if you have to like, you can't be you can't like please your child unless they have technology. That's kind of crazy. Like I didn't grow up like that, I know. I didn't get a phone till like later, and I wasn't with technology till later, so.
Now we have like 5-year-old kids who have their own phones because they would ask their parents if they could use their phones to maybe play a game or something. And so their parents think it's okay to get them a phone, but what they don't know is that might be ruining your child's future.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's stressful for parents as well because I'm not a parent, I'm nowhere near being a parent. But I can understand kind of that if you don't get your child a phone, then they'll be mad at you and other parents might look down at you. If you do get your child a phone, then you get the consequences of, you know, if your child maybe isn't as connected, like we said in the beginning about the dinner table, if your child is maybe like on their phone all the time and doesn't really connect with you or socialize with you, and that can affect them in the future.
Right, I didn't get a phone until I was in 6th grade because I knew the type of parents I had. They felt, even when I got to 6th grade and they were giving me my phone, they felt like I didn't need a phone, but they gave me one because I needed to communicate with them. Right, but my dad would always tell me you had to put down the phone at 8 o'clock in the nighttime. He wants to see it on the table because he didn't want me being exposed to that social media, to do all those things that other young kids are doing. I mean, I'm not shaming them at all. I just wouldn't do it, and my dad wouldn't like if I didn't. I wouldn't do something if I knew it wasn't going to make my parents happy.
Yeah, I love that kind of, not mantra, but I like that saying, like, don't do something if your parents wouldn't be proud of you for doing it. I always followed that, and, you know, being careful on social media, and my parents are very adamant about that. They don't really monitor my social media like that, but I think it's because they trust me enough. They know that I wouldn't do something like stupid, I guess. So that's another part of technology. Like, you have to put a lot of trust in people and assume that, like, I guess whoever you're talking to, for example, is who you actually are talking to. Because when you're behind a screen, you can do whatever you want, and, you know, no one can really stop you from doing that. Like, your profile picture doesn't have to look like you.
Right. Like, now we have catfish and stuff, and you could pretend it to be somebody else. But I mean, that's for another day. So right now we're coming to a wrap. Thank you so much for being my guest on the Adventures of CISTA Girls, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Now that I got your attention, I have to mention that you have to work hard in order to earn a pension. Therefore, keep striving and don't you ever give up. Long as you try, failure's acceptable, keep your chin up. Don't follow anyone, make the right decision. Cause one wrong move will get you right in detention. And if you keep doing it, you might get suspended. Time is money, gotta watch how you spend it. On your free time, open up your Webster's edition. Dictionary, get your vocabulary extensive. Now you don't have to listen, it's just a proposition that I'm proposing, cause I'm in a position to help the youth, because the future's arriving. So if you fall down, get up and keep on trying. If you keep your own sense, you won't need an alliance. You'll be crowned king or queen if you follow your guidance.
Keep on striving, keep on riding. One day you'll meet what you need. You're a star behind the clouds, waiting to fulfill your dreams. Keep on striving, keep on riding. One day you'll meet what you need. You're a star behind the clouds, waiting to fulfill your dreams.
High elevation and my dedication. You're looking forward to a prosperous destination. Keep the progression, never lead to a depression. As long as you keep it stepping, there's no way that you'll be stressing. High standards, you'll meet them. Vultures, you'll defeat them. Graduated from your first step, so continue to sequence. Being humble can get you where you want to. Even become a king of this concrete jungle. Keep your mentality in gravity, you can keep it. Climb to the galaxy, a star is within your reach, and nothing is impossible. Matter of fact, it's logical. If you make the right decision, you can overcome the obstacles. Keep your head in the books, possessing the brain is powerful. With intelligence, you can lead those who are doubting you. And don't you ever withdraw, because the sky is your altitude. You can accomplish any ambition if they challenge you.
Keep on striving, keep on riding. One day you'll meet what you need. You're a star behind the clouds, waiting to fulfill your dreams. Keep on striving, keep on riding. One day you'll meet what you need. You're a star behind the clouds, waiting to fulfill your dreams. Keep on striving, keep on riding. One day you'll meet what you need. You're a star behind the clouds, waiting to fulfill your dreams. Keep on striving, keep on riding. One day you'll
Now that I got your attention, I have to mention that you have to work hard in order to earn a pension. Therefore, keep striving and don't you ever give up. Long as you try, failure's acceptable, keep your chin up. Don't follow anyone, make the right decision, cause one wrong move will get you right.